Please welcome the director of The Betrayal, Susan Young. Hello, Susan. Susan, you've made a powerful film with an extraordinary way of tell a story. So I would like you to tell us about your research in this film, because I know that you did it in the context of your own work at the
Royal College of Art.
Royal College of Art, yeah.
Okay, hi everyone. Yes, I'm making a trilogy of films, and they're very much part of a practice-based research PhD that I'm currently doing at the Royal College of Art. And I was there 30 years ago. In fact, 30 years ago exactly, in 1985, I made my MA graduation film at the Royal College of Art, Carnival, which was screened here at Annecy. And one of the reasons I'm currently doing my PhD is because for a very long time, the subject of the PhD is exploring whether animation can help process psychological trauma. And I've thought about this for a very long time, because when I first became interested in animation, I have lived with psychological trauma, quite complicated traumas, for many, many years, most of my life. And I noticed when I first became interested in animation that somehow it's a very meditative process, but it seemed somehow to help me. So I became an animator, made films, didn't think very much about why it was that it was so helpful, until I had a series of quite catastrophic personal traumas that led to certain things happening, and then I got injured and I had to give up animation for a long time. So then, fairly recently, I thought I would really, really research why it is that animation might help process trauma. And I thought I would use my own autobiographical experience as the subject matter, and actually explore my research through using myself effectively as a case study. So I went to the Royal College of Art, presented this idea. They were quite frightened about it, that all sorts of things that worried them, using oneself particularly as a case study. But it's been really, really interesting, because I think only by doing this research, it's practice-based obviously, only by doing it can I actually explore my hypotheses. So basically this is the second in a trilogy, and it's all based on autobiographical experience, and that is actually, that drove the aesthetic of the film. All the text in the film is from medical records or legal documents, and I was really interested in almost forensically, archaeologically examining the context of the text. So I chose to film everything using a macro lens, and the idea of exposing the text through light passing over the material is very much my idea of sort of going back into the past, excavating my own memories of the past, and metabolizing the trauma, metabolizing the psychological trauma, and actually transferring it from a kind of experience that's within my body, that remains within my body, that drives ongoing post-traumatic stress disorder. And if you can actually explore it and transform it into something else, you can actually get it out there. And the thing that excites me so much about being here today at Annecy is that the experiences that I was going through in the betrayal, the terrible relationship that I had with that doctor, that was happening when I was last here on the jury 18 years ago. Yes, literally. So what's fantastic about having made the film and coming here and seeing that film screened in an audience, with me watching it, it has really kind of made such a massive positive difference to me. So it's in a way, I've come around two full circles here at Annecy. The 30 years since my film Carnival was screened here, and 18 years since I was last on the jury going through that very experience that's within the film.
We have a circle here on the screen, this black circle. Is it possible to script a film like this? I mean, in your creative process, do you find the form of the film when you actually do it, or it is possible to have a clear idea of what it will be before to do it?
The one idea I had was, I love 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I had this idea somehow that I wanted a slight hint of the idea of being in space, but rather than being in outer space, it's inner space, because it's very internal. But I wanted those pills, which are real pills, I wanted them to somehow pulse. I wanted them to drive the rhythm of the film. So the only thing that I started out with was, the first sequence I shot was just experimenting how to shoot these little tiny pills and make them somehow have some kind of presence and sense of inner space and some kind of rhythm. So that's what I started off with. And then the story then told itself, because there is, obviously, the story is my story.
You've said that, and now I see a sort of black round monolith, so the reference comes on my eyes very clearly now. Is there any question from the people here? Yep.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Votre travail me fait beaucoup penser à celui de Gaspard Noé au niveau de l'usage de la stroboscopie, le clignotement très incisif. Et au niveau de l'idée, quelque part, je me demandais, peut-être vous avez vu Requiem for a Dream de Darren Aronofsky.
Yes. 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 Gaspard Noé. The idea of stroboscopic light, it's very, very interesting, because there is a psychologist who, quite a few years ago now, came up with a treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder based on flashing lights. And she came up with this treatment by walking through a woodland glade with the light dappling. And there is, it's called rapid eye movement desensitization, and it involves lights and fingers moving, and it's supposed to affect the brain through the optic nerve and help people who've been traumatized to actually process their experiences. So that's very interesting that you mentioned that. And yes, Requiem for a Dream, I think, is a wonderful film. I think it expresses the idea of the chaos and the pain and the pathos of taking drugs, and prescription drugs particularly. I think it's a fantastic film, and I love its aesthetic sensibilities.
Thank you very much, Susan. Susan Young.